What is the definition of the American dream? Do we even really know? The idea behind America once was just opportunity, freedom, possibility, truth, justice, liberty. Somebody couldn't just scoop you up off the street. We used to be a country that the idea was, because we weren't always this way, but the idea was we would welcome anyone who wanted to come here legally in search of a better life. And we'd have open arms. Now, that didn't always happen, but that's the idea. If you want to make, that's the idea behind the Statue of Liberty. Come here, try it. That's being stripped away and replaced with terms like fairness and equality, which on the surface sound pretty good, don't they? I mean, who doesn't want to be fair? But what they really end up being about is power, control, and greed. What's in it for me? We're losing a sense of who we really are. Did you ever think that you would see a day like today in America, where you would see in city after city the banning of feeding the homeless? It is now happening in Philadelphia. It's happening in Orlando. It's happening in Houston, in Dallas, in Las Vegas, and New York City. Did you ever think that you would see the day where Americans would be stopped from being dreamers? You saw the stats in the last segment. Our young generation of students are losing their desire to be successful. They're being told that it's bad to be successful. It's bad to run a company. They're being told by Van Jones and others that the real American dream is the one dream where everybody has the same stuff. We've been sold a bill of goods that the American dream is to own a home. It's not. That's a nice goal to have, but that's not it. Politicians have screwed up all of it. They forced the banks to reduce lending standards. That caused more defaults because people who couldn't get a loan could suddenly get one. And when trouble hit, they defaulted. The destruction of the housing market was not necessary. It happened because of politicians and that we lost the vision of the American dream. Also, new stats out now, Americans' net worth has dropped a shocking 40% in 3 years. That means you, your neighbor, everybody you know, you have dropped in personal wealth 40%. The American dream is not about stuff. It's not about owning a home. It's not about a car. It's not how much stuff we have. It's not about the iPhone or the next guy or the guy across the street or the Joneses or anybody else. It's about having an opportunity to dream and to innovate, to make your own way. It's about having an idea and bringing it to life. It's about being fat and lazy if you want to be fat and lazy, but not sponging off of everybody else. It's about coming here with nothing but the shirt on your back and making it. You see, that's why people would take an old Chevy and put it in the water and try to float here. That's why people would get into a boat on the other side of the planet and come here. Because we were the only place on the planet who has that. Make your own way and people will leave you alone and they'll be good, will embrace you. Progressives are busy trying to make us like everyone else. In 1939, the American dream was defined by the press this way. The American dream is to come over here in steerage with 10 fingers as baggage, work, and become great. That's it. Notice how they didn't spout off the laundry list of, health care and, things that we could give people for free and equal housing. It didn't happen. By 1984, the American dream had a makeover. A survey of college students revealed that the American dream was now, quote, owning a home that is larger and more expensive than the home in which they grew up. Well, that explains why we have these mammoth homes. You do that for 2 generations, and pretty soon we're all in 400,000 square foot homes, and nobody can afford it. In 2011, at the Progressive Take Back the American Dream conference, the American dream was defined in several ways. Most eerily, it resembled progressive talking points. Stop outsourcing the dream. jobs, justice, and the American dream. Paying for the dream, progressive tax reform, and social justice. That's what they talked about. In a recent study of college students, only 10% listed limited government and low taxes and deregulation as ways to help the average person achieve the American dream. Only 10%. Over 80% thought the American dream meant a house, a vacation, retirement funds. Older Americans, immigrants, have a completely different view. Only 6% of adults rank wealth as their first or second definition of the American dream. 32% say freedom. 29% say opportunity. That is freedom. And another 21% said pursuit of happiness. That's freedom as well. Now you know what's happening? An entire generation is growing up with a false definition of the American dream. Refuse to allow it to fade out of existence. This is why we talked about the culture. This is why, quite honestly, can you come over here, follow here? Oh, I'm making Tiffany crazy. Welcome back, Tiffany, by the way. We've written these books over the years. We wrote this one, and I said to your kids, don't use this as a... Don't quote all of the footnotes in the back. Don't quote me. Don't put me in a paper or you get an F. That's why we wrote this one. That's why we wrote this one. And this is the fourth in the series. I swear to you, we have so many researchers. We spend so much time on these books. This is darn near a college education. They will learn more in these 4 books, and this one, the latest, than they'll learn in most colleges about critical thinking. Refuse to allow the American dream to be redefined anymore. Refuse to allow the American dream and the spirit that made us great, the spirit behind that little lemonade stand, refuse to let that fade out of existence on your watch.